This is episode 39. In the previous episode, we had started chapter 7 and covered the first 15 verses. As I had mentioned, chapter 7 is known as Gyana Vigyana Yoga, or the Yoga of Knowledge and Discriminative Wisdom. This chapter has 30 verses in total, out of which we have covered 15 verses. Today, we will conclude chapter 7 by covering the remaining 15 verses. So we will cover verses 7.16 to 7.30. Let's start with verse 7.16, which we had covered in episode 6 as well. Let's go through this verse. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna artu jigyasur artharthi gyani cha bhartarshab. God says, O Arjun, 4 kinds of good people engage in my devotion. These are the distressed, the seeker, the desirer of wealth or worldly possessions, and those who are wise. So 4 types of people worship me. That is the sufferer, the seeker, the self-interested or the wealth desirer, and the knowledgeable. Now I will read verses 17 and 18 together. Tesham gyani nityayuk ek bhakti vishishate priyo hi gyanina atyartham aham sacha mam priya udara sarv ev ete gyani tu atma ev me matam Asthita sahi yuktatma mam ev anuttamam gatim. God says, among the 4 kinds of people who worship me, I consider the knowledgeable to be the highest, as the knowledgeable is always constant and singularly focused on me. The knowledgeable person loves me a lot, and he is also very dear to me. All of these are noble, but I consider the wise or the knowledgeable as myself. The wise one, whose self is constant and stable, and who is focused on me, and thus attains the state of eternal peace. So, in these verses, God says that among the people who walk on the paths of karma, gyan or dhyana, my favorite is the wise and knowledgeable, who is established in yoga and who is singularly focused. Now, it is important to be singularly focused. In chapter 2, it was repeatedly mentioned that people who are not confused and who are singularly focused are the best. So it's important to be singularly focused. Arjun was also singularly focused on the eye of the fish. Being singularly focused is very important. That was verse 18. And then verse 19 is Bahunam janmanam ante Gyanvan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. God says, after many births, a man full of wisdom reaches me, and it is difficult to find such a great man who realizes that Vasudev or God is everything. So this is verse 19. Now I will cover verses 20 to 23 together. Let's go through these 4 verses. Kame teh hrit gyana prapadyante anya devata tam niyamam asthaya prakritya niyatah swaya yo yam tanum bhakta shraddhya architum ichhati tasya achalam shraddham tamev vidadhami aham sa taya shraddhaya yuktah tasya aradhanam ehte labte cha tatah kaman maya ev vihitan hitan antubattu phalam tesham tat bhavati alpamedasam devan deviyajah yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. God says, those who are governed by their nature and whose knowledge and discrimination has been usurped by unbridled desires surrender to the devas. Those who are governed by their inclination or nature and whose discrimination is stolen by desire seek devas. Now devas are nothing but smaller objectives. We had said that reaching God is very difficult. So smaller objectives are very important in that path. For example, focusing yourself on solving a maths problem or learning a piece of Mozart are smaller objectives, and it is important to achieve them to realize the larger and more arduous paths to God. It's written in Gita that you reach God through the devas. There are people whose knowledge is bewildered or influenced by unbridled desire, and hence they are limited to reaching devas only. They are still doing action with perseverance. They are renouncing or controlling their senses. So they do a lot of things in the path of righteous action, but not all. They do quite a few to focus on devas and achieve smaller objectives. Further, God says that whatever form a devotee seeks to worship with faith, I steady the faith of such a devotee. So in whatever embodiment or shape the devotee worships me, I make the faith of that devotee unswerving, unchangeable or unflinching. Effectively, God is the faith of the devotee. Then further he says that the devotee who is engaged in faith and devotion and worships the devas achieves his objectives, but in reality, I arrange these benefits for him. So whoever worships with devotion, it is I who fulfill and provide the benefits as ordained by me or as defined by me. And God says, the fruits gained by people whose knowledge and discrimination are deluded by unbridled desire is also limited. Because if you limit yourself to devas and do not move forward, then you will not achieve eternal bliss. So those who focus on smaller objectives never go beyond that to reach me. For you to reach me, you have to move beyond smaller objectives and focus on me. Then you have to give up your unbridled desires and do all the steps of righteous action. So that was till verse 23. And then verse 24 is Avyaktam Vyaktim Apannam Manyante Mam Abuddhaya Param Bhavam Ajananto Mam Avyam Anuttamam. God says, whose wisdom is incomplete, assumes me in a human form and does not understand my nature. He does not understand the imperishable, exalted nature of my form and that I am the excellence. People who don't have the right discrimination give an embodiment to my unmanifested form, and they don't realize that I am imperishable and the most excellent. They don't understand my true form. Verse 25 is Na aham prakasha sarvasya yog maya samavrita mudho ayam na abhijanati loko mam ajam avyayam. God says, I am not manifest to everyone, being veiled by my divine yog maya or delusion. Hence, those without knowledge do not know that I am without birth and changeless. Those who are deluded by illusion don't understand me. They are deluded and they don't realize that I am unborn, imperishable, immutable, unchangeable. Then verse 26 is Ved aham samtitani vartmanani cha arjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu ved na kaschan. God says, I know all living beings from the past, present and future, O Arjun. I know everyone, but no one knows me. So I know everything, but no one knoweth me. That is verse 26. And then verse 27 is Ichha Dvesh Samuthen Dvandva Mohen Bharata Sarva Bhutani Sammoham Sarge Yanti Parantapa. God says, O Bharat, all beings in this creation are in illusion or bewildered, and this delusion arises from the dualities of desire and aversion. This delusion from dualities, which comes from attraction and repulsion, causes illusion in every being. So desire and repulsion, or attraction and repulsion, this duality causes a lot of disillusion. Then verse 28 is Yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavratah. God says, people whose sins have been eliminated by engaging in pious activities, or those who have done the rightful action and through that caused all sins to end, become free from the illusion of dualities, provided they are steadfastly focused on me. If you keep striving and focus on the right and use the right to destroy evil, then you are freed of this illusion. Then verse 29 is Jara Maran Mokshai Mam Ashritya Yatanti Ye Te Brahma Tad Vidu Kritsam Adhyatmam Karma Cha Akhilam. Those who take shelter in me, striving for liberation from old age and death, come to know the Brahma, the individual self, and karma in totality. Those who strive and seek an end to the cycle of decay and death understand the eternal manifestation of the eternal, and they understand action in totality. That was verse 29. And then verse 30 is Sa adhibhuta adhidevam mam sa adhiyagyam cha ye vidu prayana kale api cha mam te vidu yukta chetasa. God says, people whose consciousness is constant and steady, one who knows that adhibhut or the physical form is a manifestation of me, and that Adidev, which is smaller objectives, are also a manifestation of me, and that I am also Adhiyagya, the beneficiary of all renunciation. Such a person is harmonized and knowledgeable. This is verse 30. So these were the literal translations. Let's go through some of the important points. In verse 7.16, God says that 4 kinds of people attempt to reach me. That is the suffering, the seeker, those who desire wealth, and those who are knowledgeable. It is important for all of us to know who we are, because in verses 7.17 and 7.18, God says that out of these 4, The knowledgeable, or the one who is on the path to wisdom, is my loved one. If you are in pain, or trying to find the right path, or trying for material benefits, or doing it just for inquisitive purposes, then that's really not the path of yoga. God says clearly, those who are knowledgeable and are using Gyan to do the right action with constant focus are basically the ones that I love the most. And they are very similar to who I am. So that is verses 17 and 18. Then verses 20 to 23 talk about smaller objectives or devas. It is important to achieve devas to reach God. You need to be able to solve a maths problem. You need to play a piece of Mozart. You need to control the football, or you need to go to the gym regularly. All of these require some of the steps in the path of karma. All these small gains are important, or the focus on the small objectives or devas is important, because you can't do the right action with all its elements all at once. But while focusing on these small objectives, you need to keep raising the bar to realize or reach the state of eternal bliss. If you don't do that, then your gains would be limited. Many people get stuck in these smaller objectives and they never achieve the eternal because their knowledge or rational discrimination is under illusion or is bewildered or confused by unbridled desire. In verse 24, God is fundamentally unmanifested. Paramahansa Yogananda narrates a story about Ramakrishna Paramahansa, who was the mentor of Swami Vivekananda. Ramakrishna missions across the world have been built in his name only. Paramahansa Yogananda narrates that Ramakrishna Paramahansa once said that he used to realize God in the form of Goddess Kali. He was a devotee of Goddess Kali at the Dakshineshwar temple in Calcutta. And then he says that he had to destroy this form to realize the eternal in its unmanifested and greatest form. And this shows that the eternal is fundamentally unmanifested. Then in verse 7.25, God uses the words unborn, immutable, and unchangeable for himself. And these are the same words he used in chapter 2 to describe the soul. And in chapter 2, we discussed that the soul and the spirit, or the soul and the eternal, are the same. The soul is a manifestation and a shadow or mirror of the eternal. So that's 7.25. Then verse 7.30 is a bit confusing because it talks about Adhibhut, Adhidev, and Adhiyagya. The simple point is that God is everything. The physical form is his manifestation. The lower objectives, such as learning a piece of Mozart, solving a maths problem, and controlling football, are manifestations of God, and the eternal is also God. So all of these are manifestations of God and of the same eternal. Whoever understands this is the true knower. These are some of the verses, and let's recap chapter 7. God describes himself in chapter 7 and says that I am the physical form, which is non-living, and my unmanifested form is also me. I am unborn, immutable, and unchangeable. I am the energy and the excellence. I am the best of the best. I am the true knowledge, and I am the essence of radiance, self-discipline, strength, taste, and fragrance. I am the life seed. I am the good, the passionate, and the ignorant. And so everything is me. He is basically saying that everything is a manifestation of me, be it physical, living, manifested, unmanifested, good, bad, ignorant, and passionate. Then he says, reach me, or attempt to reach me. But which him should we go to attain bliss? While everything is a manifestation of him, he is also saying that you have to strive for that him, which is the good, the radiance, the essence, the strength, the self-discipline, the taste, and the fragrance. That him gives you eternal bliss. That's what he has described. Let me just stop here, and with this, we have completed chapter 7.